What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From The Bench Vols. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and today is our Friday edition where I have been out for a while. The ACL is repaired. Surgery went well. Thank you guys for all the texts and DMs and letting me know that you were praying for me. All those were much appreciated. I'm very glad to be back. I hated missing all of that time, and you may have noticed in the intro, sounded a little different. I said From The Bench Vols. It's been changed for a while, even if you guys haven't noticed it. The name has been From The Bench Vols. That's still the logo for From The Bench Vols, but I have a new channel that I just made. Obviously, this is staying the same. I love doing this. My passion is Tennessee sports, but From The Bench is now its own channel, and it is about all sports. NCAA, basketball, NCAA football, NFL, NBA, you name it. We talk about it over there. So make sure you guys go check that out. It's just From The Bench on YouTube. It is the name of what this used to be, and now this has changed. So just wanted to put that out there. Again, make sure you guys go give the other channel a look. It is just From The Bench. I will put the link to that channel in the description. So again, make sure you guys just go check that out for me. So today we're going to talk about strictly basketball. The Vols won but got a big win, a much needed revenge win against the Vanderbilt Commodores last weekend. They're on a little bit of their bye week, per se. You don't get a bye week in college basketball, but we don't play a weekday game this year. We haven't played a weekday game this year. We haven't played a weekday game this week, and we head to Aggie Land this Saturday. So let's get right into it. Like I said, the Vols picked up a big win against Vanderbilt last week, 81-76. Zakai Ziegler finished the game with 22 points and 8 assists. Chaz Lanier finished the game with 21 points and 8 rebounds. The Vol guard duo really took over that game, especially in the second half. And Igor Milicic finished the game with 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. So, like I said, the duo of Chaz Lanier and Zakai Ziegler really took over that backcourt, played incredible against them. Chaz Lanier shot the ball well, shot about 50%. Zakai Ziegler really took over in the second half. He did not score a point in the first half and finished the game with 22 points. He got a technical there early in the second half, and it just kind of flipped the switch for him. He just kind of got mad and took over right there, and that's what we love to see from our backcourt. If we could get that consistently, I think we'd be the best team in the country. There's no doubt about it. But obviously, that's a little too much to ask for. The guys played great on defense. Vanderbilt, credit to them, they shot the ball very well. I think Vanderbilt could be a sneaky team if they get into March. And if they don't, it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's because they play in the gauntlet of the SEC. They are easily a top, 64, team. I guess that's how many there is in college in the March Madness. But Vanderbilt, credit to that coach over there, the coach from JMU, his first year there. He's really turned that program around. They're a very good basketball team. But this weekend, the Vols head to Aggie Land to take on the 7th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies. It's the 6 versus a 7 matchup. It's at noon on ESPN for those of you guys wondering. In my opinion, it's the best game this week. I know there's Alabama and Kentucky and Iowa State and Houston, but I think this is the best game this week. I wish that it wasn't at noon and we could have some college game day there in College Station, but no. But I think this is the best game this week. A&M is led by guard Wade Taylor and Zurich Phelps. Wade Taylor is an older guy, very experienced, and he is a microwave. If he gets going, he gets going. So we're going to have to definitely keep an eye on that. Obviously, we talk about it on here a lot. Despite the shooting struggles and the struggles of this team and the question mark, there's no doubt about it, this team will play defense. Zakai Ziegler and Jemai Meshack are 2 of the top 5 defenders in the country, especially perimeter and on the ball. Those guys are just disgusting. So I love when we have to play a team that it's stop their guards. That really works in our favor, in my opinion. But that whole team can get hot. Texas A&M it's a really odd team in my opinion, because yes, they're the 7th ranked team in the country, and they're the 4th ranked team in the SEC, but they can be so sloppy at times, and that's just kind of odd for a top 7 team. But hey, we're pretty sloppy at times too. Like for a perfect example, earlier this past weekend, I guess they played Arkansas at home. They kind of slipped away, 61-69, so they won by 8 points, but they were up big. They played a great first half, and they were up pretty big on them, and then Arkansas makes a late push, and you kind of on the edge of your seat thinking, oh, they could lose this game. Arkansas could come back and win. And then they just kind of scored out at the end and win by 8. That is Texas A&M basketball this year. It might be sloppy. It might not be the most enjoyable to watch, but you might be on the edge of your seat and you might be holding your breath, but they just come out with a way to win. They're a scrappy basketball team, and like I said, it might be ugly at times, but they find ways to win basketball games, and that's the name of the game. That's all that matters. So I'm very excited for this game. Like I said, I think it's the best game on this weekend, so it should be fun to watch. I'm going to take us 72-68, Ramley. I'm going to take Tennessee. I think that Wade Taylor's going to get his. I think Chazonier's going to see a few go in pretty early, and Zakai is going to lead this team to a top 10 win, which is much needed for the Vols right now, especially with how good other teams are playing, like Auburn, and Florida got their win against Auburn not too long ago. But you can really capitalize with Kentucky kind of not spiraling down but losing some games, and Alabama's lost 2 in a row. So really, this is a big game for Tennessee in terms of their rankings amongst the big dogs in the SEC. Obviously, we are one of the big dogs, but where you see yourself at the top of the SEC. Speaking of the top of the SEC, our last thing we're going to talk about today, and the biggest one is my power rankings of the SEC basketball, of the SEC in basketball. Sorry. Like I said, I say all the time, it's the gauntlet. So these are the gauntlet rankings. Bum, bum, bum. The rankings of the gauntlet, if you will. I just think we obviously we do around the SEC a lot on this show, but I want to have like a segment here where I give my pre-SEC tournament and pre-March Madness SEC rankings before all the madness, the calm before the storm, my rankings of what I think the SEC looks like right now. So let's just get right into it. Number 1, I talked about this on my other show, From The Bench, so make sure you guys go check that out. Bruce Pearl got on the headset on SVP ESPN and claims that Auburn is one of the best college basketball teams of all time. You'll see what I said if you guys want to go check that out. You're only as good as your last game. If they win it all, they have every right to call themselves that. But we'll see. They have 14 quad 1 wins right now. If they win 4 more, which they have 4 more on their schedule, they will break the record for most quad 1 wins in a year. Sitting at 24-2 with only losses to at Duke, at Cameron Indoor, and against Florida. I mean, they're really good. They're old. I don't really like them, but Auburn is by far the best team in the SEC, and in my opinion, by far the best team in the country. At 2, I have Florida, and the reason I have them at 2 is because I think that they play a little bit better defense than number 3, and I'll get into number 3 if lack of defense should kind of tell you who number 3 is. But Florida's led by their guards and Will Richard and Walter Clayton. They are guard heavy, but they play some defense. They have some solid bigs, but they shoot it really well. They shot it really well against Auburn. They could be a tough matchup in March, especially if they can stay healthy. Obviously, Walter Clayton got a little banged up against us. That was a while ago. He's fine. He's been playing. But if they can stay healthy, Florida's going to be a tough team in March. And Walter Clayton is one of the best guards in the country. They're well coached. They're a good basketball team. At number 3, I have Alabama. And like I said, they just play a worse defense than Florida. And they might play worse defense than everybody in the country. Alabama will let you score 130 because they think that they'll score 135. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. It's an odd thing in basketball. It's going to make them very hard to predict in March, but nonetheless, they're still a very good basketball team led by Mark Sears, Grant Nelson. They've got a lot of good basketball players. They're deep. Aiden Holloway, Auburn transfer, is on that team. They're just a very good basketball team, but again, they don't play any defense. And they didn't play defense last year, and I had them, I think, in the round of 32 in my bracket last year, and those suckers made it to the dang Final Four last year. So, you don't know with them because they're such a, they can fill it up with the best of them. Like, for example, they played Auburn last weekend and lost, but they scored 86 points, and they were not shooting it well from three. They missed a lot of free throws. They had an off night and scored 86. If the Tennessee Volunteers score 86, we are on cloud 9, and we thought we just filled it up. There's levels to it on offense. Alabama scores it with the best of them. There's no doubt about it. They're just a very interesting team because of their lack of defense. They just lost to Missouri earlier this week, and Missouri scored 110 points in a college basketball game. Mark Mitchell led the way with 31. So, unreal. They're going to be such a hard team to predict. It's kind of funny. But we'll see. Very good basketball team nonetheless. I'm very excited for our game against them. The Orange Out March 1st. Coming soon, I guess that is, against them. I think we're polar opposites, like I was just saying. Everything I just said about Alabama does not apply to us. So, should be a very good game, rivalry game, packed house, Orange Out. We'll see. Number 4, as much as this pains me to put them above us, because in my opinion they're our biggest basketball rival, is Kentucky. I know they're ranked, or we're ranked, 9 spots higher than them. They've lost some games they shouldn't, but those suckers beat us twice with missing a lot of star power. Yes, they win games that they shouldn't, and they lose games that they shouldn't. If Kentucky gets healthy during March, look out, because that team is well coached. Mark Pope is building a very good program over there. It's the Mark Pope era as Calipari left last year, but he's a very good coach. Lamont Butler is one of the best point guards in the country, and if he's playing and he's healthy, he's what makes that team go. If Jackson Robinson's playing, he's one of their better scorers. He's who kind of killed us when we played him here. They're going to go. And if they can stay healthy, they're going to be a very dangerous team in March, but that's a big if because they haven't been able to stay healthy all year. That's kind of their Achilles heel right now. At 5, I have us because I'm not going to say much about it because I talk about us all the time. We're good defensively, but we have nights where we couldn't throw it in the ocean. I don't know with us. A lot of the media and just fans out there don't think that we're much of a threat in March, but I also think that we very well could be. So I don't know with us. There's a lot of question marks. I'm excited to see how we play this weekend against Texas A&M, and I'm also excited to see how, like I said earlier, we play March 1st against Alabama. At number 6, I have Missouri, who played us very well. If you guys remember when we played here, they have a couple guys that have the ability just to fill it up. They shoot it very well. They're well coached, and they're another team. They could get hot in March because they can score the basketball. They play hard. In my opinion, they're just a better Mississippi State, who we'll talk about in a minute. But Missouri's a very good basketball team. They have the capability to beat anybody. They're at 6 for me. At 7, which that should show you. Missouri would probably win every other conference. They wouldn't beat Duke, but they could hang with Houston over there in the Big 12. Kansas is kind of falling apart. They're 6 here. 7 is A&M, and the only reason I have them behind Missouri, and kind of like I was saying about them earlier. Like, they're just so sloppy at times. It's really odd at times. They're a big question mark, and that's another I don't know. How I was saying earlier that us and A&M are very similar. A&M is just an odd team. Wade Taylor has the ability to take over. We saw it last year in March Madness, but he also has the ability to not find a shot he doesn't like, and he can shoot them out of games as well. At number 8, I have Mississippi State, who has another guy who's a microwave and can shoot them into him, and he can shoot them out of them. Josh Hubbard, the point guard over there. Mississippi State plays very hard. They're another well-coached team. They play very hard defensively. They're all over the place, but they're very streaky. Like, one night they look very good, like they just beat Texas A&M. But then they'll lose to, LSU. I'm not saying they have lost to LSU, but you know what I mean. Like, they're another one that's just kind of up in the air. They're ranked, I think, 21st right now in the country. So they're another team like Josh Hubbard could get hot, and they start playing really well. But they also, Josh Hubbard couldn't find one that he doesn't like and shoots them out of it. So it'll be interesting. 9, I have Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a very good basketball team. I think they're 22nd in the country, but I have them at 9 just because they kind of lack that marquee win or wins, because everybody has some good wins in the SEC if you're ranked this high. But they struggle to string quality wins together, in my opinion. I think they're a good basketball team. I think they could do well in the tournament. I think really anybody in the SEC could do well in the tournament just because everybody's going to be so battle-tested. But Ole Miss is at 9 for me. At 10, I have Vanderbilt. They're another one. This is the last time I'll say it, but they could make a run in the tournament. They shoot well. They play hard. They rebound well. They might be undersized. They're well-coached. First-year head coach out of JMU. They play a hard on-ball defense. Like, Vanderbilt's a solid basketball team, and if they get in to March Madness, they've got an experienced leader in A.J. Hoggard, so it'll be interesting to see how Vandy does. They should get into the tournament, but the SEC tournament can definitely hurt them or help them. At 11, I have Texas, led by star freshman Trey Johnson. They have some all right guards. They lack consistency at the big position. But, again, they beat Kentucky, and then they'll lose to LSU. Like, that's them in a nutshell as well. They have some positive wins. Trey Johnson gets hot some nights. He hung 30 on Kentucky, but I just think Trey Johnson they will go as far as Trey Johnson takes them, if that makes sense. 12, I have Arkansas, Calipari. And while I'm on Arkansas, I want to talk about this because I've needed to talk about this on this show. Like, Jonas Adu could not have made a worse decision leaving Tennessee and going to Arkansas. Like, one, he shouldn't have left Tennessee. But, I don't know. He maybe Rick Barnes told him to leave. But Arkansas was probably the worst place he could have gone. Like, Arkansas is so fast-paced and get the ball out and push it out and athletic. And not saying Jonas Adu is just this old sack of bones that can't move, but he can't move. Like, he's not near as athletic as the rest of that team. And Big Z over there, the big European, may not move like the rest of them, but he's got an outside shot. He's kind of got a bag to him. But Adu just doesn't have that. Like, Adu averages like 8 minutes a game there, and he really only plays depending on the foul trouble of Big Z. And Big Z's coming along over there. And he's stringed a few good games together, but it just doesn't make much sense to me why he went there. But that's besides the point. 12 is Arkansas. Young, athletic is all get out, like I said. They push the ball up the floor well. They're a lot better than they started SEC play, but they're still at 12 for me. 13 is Georgia, who is kind of the opposite of a lot better than they started. Started the year off hot, started SEC play off well. And then they kind of came to us and got drilled when they were top 20 in the country when they came to the Thompson Bowling, and then we drilled them, and then they just kind of slowly went down from there. I think they're at 16-10 this year. Not the best. They just kind of fell off. They're not an SEC caliber, top of the ranks team at all. a good NIT team, though. I don't think they're going to make the tournament. 14, another one that started off very hot, was undefeated going into conference play. Oklahoma, led by freshman Jeremiah Fears, and just struggled in the gauntlet. Like I said, dun dun dun. Like I always say, the gauntlet is not forgiving. SEC basketball is just ridiculous this year. 15 is South Carolina for me. Colin Murray-Boyles is a first-round pick in the NBA draft this year. They just lack consistency at the guard position. But South Carolina, if you look at their box score, like they'll beat a team, they'll beat a team like by a solid margin, and then they'll hang with like Auburn and Kentucky and everybody and lose by 6 or 8 or 4. And they can never just pull it out, which it's so odd to me. They just can't get over the hump, but they're not the worst team in the SEC because that is LSU, who is by far the worst team in the SEC in my opinion. Not a very good record. They just do not put it together well. Not the best basketball team in my opinion. I think they're still, quad 2, so they're not horrible, but they're not very good either. So that is my power rankings of the SEC. I wanted to have that because, like I said, we always have the Around the SEC segments on this show, but I wanted to make sure that I had just kind of my calm before the storm rankings before we get into the SEC tournament. We've got a few games left in the regular season, a few weeks left in the regular season, so we'll see. Auburn is the team to beat, the team to dethrone. They are easily the best team in the country, in my opinion. They're old. They have 8 guys over 23. They're well coached. They shoot it well. They're efficient. Like rankings or statistically the best offense in the country. They play defense. They rebound it well. Like they play with a chip on their shoulder. Like they have everything that you want in a team to make a deep run in March. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I talked a lot about that on my other channel, which I will put that in the description. Just from the bench. So make sure you guys go check that out for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'm so glad, like I said, we're back. The ACL's repaired. I've been limping around. And again, thank you guys for everybody who texted me after the last episode or DM'd the channel saying that they were praying for me. I really appreciate all of that. So thank you guys for watching, and go Vols.